आरती के शोभा कि बजयो जयो गौरचंदेर आरती के शोभा आरती के शोभा जानावी तातावाने जग मानलो बा जानावी तातावाने जग मानलो बा की बदाखी नैनीताय चान बामे गदाधारा नैनीताय चान बामे गदा की बदाखी नैनीताय चान बामे गदाधारा दाखी निकाते अद्वैदाशिनी वास छत्रधारा निकाते अद्वैदाशिनी छत्रधारा किंव बोशी अचे गौराचान रत्न सिंहासने बोशी अचे गौराचान रत्न सिंहासने किंव बोशी याचे गौराचान रत्न सिंहासने याचे गौराचान रत्न सिंहासने आरती कोरे ना ब्रह्मा आदि देवगाने आरती कोरेना ब्रह्मा हो कि बनर हरि आदि कोरी चामर दुलाया कि बनरा हरि आदि कोरी चामर दुलाया संजया मुकुंद बाशु घोष आदि गाया घोष आदि गाया शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे माधुर बाजे शंका ओ शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे हो शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे मधुर मधुर बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे गौरंगेरा रतिक शोभा जग जन मान लोबा जग जन मान लोबा हो गौरंगेरा रतिक शोभा जग जन मान लोबा हो जग जन मान लोबा जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरानिताय ओ जय गौरा चंदेर गौरा चंदेर गौरा चंदेर जय गौरा चंदेर कि बबहू कोटि चंद्रजीनी वदन उज्ज्वला कि बबहू कोटि चंद्रजीनी वदन उज्ज्वला कोटि चंद्रजीनी वदन उज्ज्वला गला देसे बनमाला कोरे जलमाला गला देसे बन कोरे जलमाला कि शिवा शुका नारदा प्रेमे गदा गदा शिवा शुका नारदा प्रेमे गदा गदा कि शिवा शुका नारदा प्रेमे गदा गदा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गौरार संपादा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गौरार संपादा हो कि बजयो जयो गौरा चंदेर आरती के शोभा जानावी तातावाने जग मनलोबान जानावी तातावाने जग मनलोबान जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा ओ जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा 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 हो गौर भक्त वृंदा गौर भक्त वृंदा गौर भक्त वृंदा गौर भक्त वृंदा श्री अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा श्री अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो ओ गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो बोलो राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो ना हो राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो राधे राधे बोलो कृष्णा कृष्णा बोलो कृष्णा कृष्णा बोलो राधे राधे बोलो हो राधे राधे बोलो कृष्णा कृष्णा बोलो 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 हो कृष्णा कृष्णा बोलो राधे राधे बोलो कृष्णा कृष्णा बोलो राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो हो राधा रमन हरि गोविंद बोलो ओ कृष्णा 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 है कृष्णा 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 है कृष्णा 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 पाहि मां राम राघव राम राघव राम राघव रक्ष मां हो राम राघव राम राघव राम राघव रक्ष मां बोलो श्री राम जय जय राम हो श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम जय बोलो श्री राम जय जय राम। जय रघुपति राघव राजा राम, रघुपति राघव राजा। हरिहराय नमः कृष्ण यादवाय नमः, यादवाय माधवाय केशवाय नमः। गोपाल गोविंद राम श्री मधुसूदन, गोपाल गोविंद राम श्री मधुसूदन। गिरिधरी गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन, हो मदन मोहन मदन मोहन, हो मदन मोहन मदन मोहन। हो गिरिधरी गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन। श्री चैतन्य नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत सीता, हरि गुरु वैष्णव भगवत गीता, भगवत गीता भगवत गीता। ओ भगवत गीता भगवत गीता, ओ भगवत गीता भगवत गीता, गीता भगवत गीता। हरि गुरु वैष्णव भगवत गीता। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ, श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ, श्री जीवा गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ, हो श्री जीवा गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ। ओ हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। बोलो बोलो। ओ हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। ओ हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। ओ हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। बोलो बोलो। हरे हरे। निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल, निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल, निताय गौरा हरि ओ निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल, निताय गौरा हरि बोल। बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। नमस्ते नरसिंहाय नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रहलाद लाद दायिने हिरण्यकशिपोर्वक्षः शीलाटङ्कानकालाय इतो नरसिंह परतो नरसिंह इतो नरसिंह परतो नरसिंह यतो यतो यामिततो नरसिंह बहिर्नरसिंह हृदये नरसिंह नरसिंह आदिम शरणं प्रपदे तव कर कमलावरे नाकाम अद्भुत श्रृंगाम दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगा केशवधृता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जगदीश हरे
अद्भुत श्रृंगार ललिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगा केशवधृता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे
जय जगदीश हो जय केशवधृता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधृता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज भक्त प्रहलाद प्रहलाद महाराज जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय जगन्नाथा जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा माँ जय सुदर्शन चक्र जय सीताराम जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान जय सीताराम जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान जय प्रभुपदा जय गुरुदेवा जय प्रभुपदा श्रीला गुरुदेवा निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल। जय ओम विष्णुपदा परहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद जीवन के शिला ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपदा परहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य शिला प्रभुपाद की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद जय द्वेदा गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपा गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की मथुरा धाम की नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माई यमुना माई की तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की संकीर्तन यज्ञ की बृहद मृदंगा की सामवेद भक्त वृंद की गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड ड्यूटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड ड्यूटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड ड्यूटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री गुरु एंड गौरंगा ऑल ग्लोरीज टू जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Bolo, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavani ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So today, I'm going to speak from the Bhagavad Gita 9th chapter, text 11. Avajananti Mamudha. So I'll have you repeat one word at a time. Avajananti. Mam. Mudha. Avajananti Mamudha. Manusim. Tanam. Asritam. Manusim Tanam Asritam. Param. Bhavam. Anajanto. Param Bhavam Ajananto. Mama. Bhuta. Mama. Bhuta. Maheshwaram. Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram. Avajananti Mamuda. Manusim Tanumasritam. Param Bhavam Ajananto. Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. That's what happens when you take the cell phone away from the kid. They go crazy. You hear that? You should never give a cell phone to a kid. Worst thing you can do. Okay, so this verse says, and you can repeat after me, fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of it all that be. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. From the other explanations of the previous verses in this chapter, it is clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing like a human being, is not a common man. The personality of Godhead, who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the complete cosmic manifestation, cannot be a human being. Yet there are many foolish men who consider Krishna to be merely a powerful man and nothing more. Actually, he is the original Supreme Personality, as is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. He is the Supreme Lord. There are many Ishwaras, controllers, and one appears greater than another. In the ordinary management of affairs in the material world, we find some official or director, and above him there is a secretary, and above him a minister, and above him a president. Each of them is a controller, but one is controlled by another. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that Krishna is the supreme controller. There are many controllers, undoubtedly, both in the material and spiritual world. But Krishna is the supreme controller, Ishvara Parama Krishna. And his body is Sat-Chit Ananda, non-material. In other words, spiritual. Material bodies cannot perform the wonderful acts described in the previous verses. His body is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Although he is not a common man, the foolish deride him and consider him to be a man. His body is called here Manusim because he is acting just like a man, a friend of Arjuna's, a politician involved in the battle of Kurukshetra. In so many ways, he is acting just like an ordinary man, but actually, his body is Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. So Sat means eternal, Chit means full of all knowledge, Ananda full of transcendental bliss, and Vigraha in a body, a spiritual body. Eternal bliss and knowledge absolute. This is confirmed in the Vedic language also. Satchitananda Rupaya Krishnava. I offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is the eternal blissful form of knowledge. Gopala Tapani Upanishad. There are other descriptions in the Vedic literatures. Dam ekam govindam. You are Govinda, the pleasure of the senses and the cows. Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. And your form is transcendental, full of knowledge, bliss, and eternity. Gopala Tapani Upanishad. Despite the transcendental qualities of Lord Krishna's body, its full bliss and knowledge, there are many so-called scholars and commentators of Bhagavad Gita who deride Krishna as an ordinary man. The scholar may be born an extraordinary man due to his previous good work, but the conception of Sri Krishna is due to a poor fund of knowledge. Therefore, he is called Mudha. For only foolish persons consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being. The foolish consider Krishna an ordinary human being because they do not know the confidential activities of the Supreme Lord and his different energies. They do not know that Krishna's body is a symbol of complete knowledge and bliss, that he is the proprietor of everything, that he is the proprietor of everything that be, and that he can award liberation to anyone. Because they do not know that Krishna has so many transcendental qualifications, they deride him. Nor do they know that the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this material world is a manifestation of his eternal energy. He is the master of the material energy, as has been explained in several places. Mama Maya Duratyaya. He claims that the material energy, although very powerful, is under his control. And whoever surrenders unto him can get out of the control of this material energy. If a soul surrendered to Krishna can get out of the influence of material energy, then how can the Supreme Lord, who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the whole cosmic nature, have a material body like us? So this conception of Krishna is complete foolishness. Foolish persons, however, cannot conceive that the personality of Godhead, Krishna, appears just like an ordinary man, can be the controller of all the atoms and of the gigantic manifestation of the universal form. The biggest and the minutest are beyond their conception. So they cannot imagine that a form like that of a human being can simultaneously control the infinite and the minute. Actually, although he is controlling the infinite and the minute, he is apart from all this manifestation. It is clearly stated concerning his yogam aishwaryam, his inconceivable transcendental energy, that he can control the infinite and the finite simultaneously, and that he can remain aloof from them. Although the foolish cannot imagine how Krishna, who appears just like a human being, can control the infinite and the finite, those who are pure devotees accept this, for they know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, they completely surrender unto him and engage in Krishna consciousness, devotional service of the Lord. There are many controversies between the impersonalists and the personalists, but the Lord's appearance as a human being, there are many controversies between the impersonalists and the personalists about the Lord's appearance as a human being. But if we consult Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, the authoritative texts for understanding the science of Krishna, then we can understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is not an ordinary man, although he appeared on the earth as an ordinary human. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, when the sages, headed by Sonaka, inquired about the activities of Krishna, they said, Kritavan kila karmani saha ramena keshava ati martyani bhagavan guda kapata manishaha. Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with Balaram, played like a human being, and so masked, he performed many superhuman acts. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.20. The Lord's appearance as the Lord's appearance as a man bewilders the foolish. No human being could perform the wonderful acts that Krishna performed while he was present on this earth. When Krishna appeared before his father and mother, Vasudeva and Devaki, he appeared with 4 hands. But after the prayers of his parents, he transformed himself into an ordinary child. As stated in the Bhagavatam, 10th chapter, 10th canto, 3rd chapter, 46th verse, Bahuva Prakrita Sisyu. He became just like an ordinary child, an ordinary human being. Now here again it is indicated that the Lord's appearance as an ordinary human being is one of the features of his transcendental body. In the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita also it is stated that Arjuna prayed to see Krishna's form of 4 hands. Tenaiva Rupena Chatur Bhulena. After revealing this form, Krishna then, petitioned by Arjuna, again assumed his original human-like form, Manusam Rupam. These different features of the Supreme Lord certainly are not, these different features of the Supreme Lord are certainly not those of an ordinary human being. Some of those who deride Krishna and who are infected with the Mayavadi philosophy quote the following verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 29th chapter, 21st verse, to prove that Krishna is just an ordinary man. Aham sarvesu bhutesu bhutat maya shrita sada. The Supreme is present in every living entity. We should better take note of this particular verse from the Vaishnava Acharyas like Jiva Goswami and Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura, instead of following the interpretation of unauthorized persons who deride Krishna. Jiva Goswami, commenting on this verse, says that Krishna, in his plenary expansion as Paramatma, is situated in the moving and the non-moving living entities as supersoul. So any neophyte devotee who simply gives his attention to the Archamurti, the form of the Supreme Lord in the temple, and does not respect other living entities, is uselessly worshiping the form of the Lord in the temple. There are 3 kinds of devotees of the Lord, and the neophyte is in the lowest stage. The neophyte devotee pays more attention to the deity in the temple than to other devotees. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura warns that this sort of mentality should be corrected. A devotee should see that because Krishna is present in everyone's heart as Paramatma, everybody is the embodiment or the temple of the Supreme Lord. So, as one offers respect to the temple of the Lord, one should also similarly properly respect each and every person in which the Paramatma dwells. Everyone should therefore be given proper respect and should not be neglected. There are also many impersonalists who deride temple worship. They say that since God is everywhere, why should one restrict oneself to temple worship? But if God is everywhere, is he not in the temple or in the deity? Although the personalists and the impersonalists will fight with one another perpetually, a perfect devotee in Krishna consciousness knows that although Krishna is the Supreme Personality, he is all-pervading, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Although his personal form is Goloka, his personal abode is Goloka Vrindavana, and he is always staying there, by his different manifestations of energy and by his plenary expansion, he is present everywhere in all parts of the material and spiritual creation. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Now see, that's a very nice and thorough purport or explanation of who Krishna is and also his extraordinary powers. If we want to be a devotee, we have to understand the unique qualities of Krishna that nobody else has. For example, Krishna has 64 transcendental qualities, and he also has 64 transcendental arts, and he is not subject to the modes of material nature. What are the modes of material nature? Goodness, passion, and ignorance. He's transcendental to them. Therefore, he's not controlled by anything. On the contrary, he controls the modes of material nature. All of us are under the control of goodness, passion, and ignorance. The purpose of human life is to elevate ourselves above the influence of these three modes and come to what's called Suddhasattva, transcendental goodness. What's the difference between goodness and transcendental goodness? Well, goodness, we come under the concept that we have achieved the highest pinnacle of happiness because we have a good body, we have money, we have nice cars and houses, we have a nice job, nice children, nice wife or nice husband. And all these nice things are due to living in the mode of goodness. But that is not the perfection of life. So that's the problem of the mode of goodness. We become convinced that all these material benefits and that we have achieved are the summit of human achievement. And that's not true. The summit of human achievement is to be able to understand a relationship with Radha and Krishna, as you see here, and serve them with love and devotion so that at the moment of death we can remember Radha and Krishna and go back to the spiritual world. The idea that by living in the mode of goodness, one receives many blessings because regularly one is not committing sinful acts, and that's good, but that's not the purpose of life. The purpose of life is not only to live without performing sins, but it's also to develop genuine love and devotion for Krishna. So that's the fault of the mode of goodness. If you stay only in the mode of goodness, you think that you've achieved the highest level of achievement. But no, there's much more levels to achieve. So the whole point is that we should develop pure love and devotion for Krishna. And this is what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited when he was on the earth. He was exhibiting pure love and devotion for the Lord. And he recommended that everyone should chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Golokera Premadana, Harinama Sankirtana. He brought this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, down from the spiritual world to the material world, and gave it to everyone. You see, there was one disciple of Ramanujacharya. No, it was Ramanujacharya. He had a guru. And his guru said, I'm going to give you a mantra. And if you say this mantra, you will have all, you will achieve all spiritual purification, and you'll go back to Vaikuntha. But, he said, you have to promise me not to teach it to anybody else. So Ramanuja said, okay, fine, I will do that, Gurudev. So then he taught him the mantra. What did Ramanuja do? Right away he went to the central, let's say, park of the town that he was in, and he called out to everyone, please come, I'm going to give you the mantra that will liberate you from the cycle of birth and death. And people came, and he gave them the mantra. You want to know what the mantra is? Narayana, right? So his guru heard this, and he called them. He said, what's going on here? You promised you were not going to tell anybody. He said, yes, I did that. Then why did you do it? He said, well, I know that if I did that, I would probably go to hell. But everybody I gave it to, they would all be liberated. Therefore, let me go to hell and let them go back to Godhead. Now, that's a real devotee, you see, because he is not selfishly interested. He is interested in helping everyone. And even if that means he has to suffer, he'll accept that suffering if he can help everyone become Krishna conscious. This is the real, let's say, culture of a genuine devotee. Just like Srila Prabhupada. He actually suffered a lot of difficulties in his advanced age, coming to the United States with only $7 in his pocket. And for about 1.5 years, he was not actually successful. He was having a difficult time, and he was thinking of going back to India. And he would often go to the ship company and ask, when's the next merchant ship back to India? But somehow or other, he continued to stay. But things became really tough because at one time, he was staying in the house of a hippie who took LSD, then took a knife and tried to kill Prabhupada. And Prabhupada ran away, and he didn't really know where he was going to go, but he knew one person who at that time was not initiated, but he knew the address of one person. So he went to that person's apartment and knocked on the door. Now it was like 9:30, almost 10 o'clock at night, and the boy and his girlfriend were in bed. So the girlfriend gets out of the bed, goes to the door, opens it, and she sees Prabhupada. And she said, what is it, Swamiji? And he said, well, I have no place to stay. She slammed the door on him. So she came back and got into bed, and the boy said, well, who was that? She said, oh, it's that old Swamiji. He said, the old Swamiji? He said, well, why didn't you let him in? He said, we don't want him here. We want to be together tonight. So he got out of the bed. He ran to the door, opened it up, and Prabhupada was still there. And he invited Prabhupada to come in. And he told him, you stay in this apartment tonight, Prabhupada, and my wife and I will leave and we'll see you tomorrow. So they left, and Prabhupada didn't sleep in their bed. He slept on the floor. So this is the type of thing that he had to tolerate in order to establish the movement. Later on, that boy became Mukunda, one of the first devotees initiated by Srila Prabhupada, and a very, very astute and educated person, and helped Prabhupada in many ways, spreading the movement in the early days. Mukunda is still a devotee. He lives in the Far East, and he's a wonderful person. I've had a lot of association with him. So we can see how much Prabhupada had to tolerate the offenses of people in order to expand this Krishna consciousness. And he didn't give up. So this is the culture of pure devotees. They never give up. They may be a little bit discouraged, but they know that Krishna is behind everything. So one day I was on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada, and he started lampooning, or meaning criticizing the scientists. I mean, very, very energetically, And at one point, I said to Srila Prabhupada, I said, Prabhupada, I've never heard anyone criticize the scientists before. He said, yes. I said, I've never heard this. I'm just really shocked. He said, you know why I can do it? I said, no, I don't know. So he put his finger up like this, and he looked at me. He said, I can do it because I know Krishna's behind everything. I know this. I know this. I know this. Therefore, I can do it. So, and it's a fact. He had complete faith that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. Always remember that proverb. Let's repeat that. Not a blade of grass moves without the not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. Okay? So never forget this. Whatever happens in this world is controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nothing happens by accident. But when bad things happen, you should understand that Krishna has a plan. Just like whenever a demon is born, there's usually very bad omens, such as a tsunami, or there'll be wildfires, or there'll be earthquakes, or there'll be so much rain that people die, and so forth. Now, whenever that happens, that means there's a demon born. Now, in previous times, there were very few demons, like 1, 2, 3, 5 demons. That was it. Today, there are many demons, many demons. That's why the weather is very erratic. You're having earthquakes, you're having floods, you're having all kinds of diseases, and whenever there's very bad weather and lightning and hurricanes and things like that, that means that a demon is born. And there are a lot of demons now, whereas before there were a few demons. There was give the name of the demons. I always forget the name of the demons. Huh? Who? Hiranyakashipu is Ravana, Hiranyaksha, Sisupal. I always forget the names of the demons. So, but those were just a few demons. Today, there are many demons. And there's a lot of bad weather also. Like today, you know, it was sunny, then it got a little bit cold, then it was raining. You know, it was like erratic, you know. So, no, but it's not really, you know, terrible. But there are days where the weather is really bad. That means some demon is being born. Okay, so what do we do with all this information? Well, this proves that there is the plan of the Lord. And we have to have faith that God has a plan. Like the atheists, they say, well, first of all, we don't believe there's God. And secondly, we don't believe there's any plan that's, you know, happening, you know. Everything is happening by chance. This one man was a famous person. He had the Nobel Prize, and he wrote a book called "Everything Happens by Chance." Right? So he came to Prabhupada, and he showed Prabhupada the book. So Prabhupada didn't even touch it. You know, he looked at it. You know, and so he said, "Well, what do you think?" You know, Prabhupada said, "I think there's many mistakes in your book." So the man had, you know, an ego was like way up here, you know. And the way Prabhupada said it, his ego shrunk, till it came way down here. And he kept quiet after that. Yeah. So this idea that everything happens by chance. So what did Prabhupada say? Later on he said, well, he said that everything happens by chance. He wrote this book and he got a Nobel Prize, right? But he said that if he says everything happens by chance, then why did he put his name on the book as the author? No, because if everything happens by chance, that means no human being did it. Somehow or other, it happened, right? So, and he said, why is he taking, why is he being glorified as the author of the book if everything happens by chance? See? But actually, nothing happens by chance in the material world. There is the plan of the Lord. And the plan of the Lord sometimes is incomprehensible for people. However, for devotees, it's not incomprehensible. Like, for example, let's look at Prahlad Maharaj. He has a mother and a father. It so happens that his father is a big demon, Hiranyakashipu. And his mother, I wouldn't say she's a big demon, but she was also following her husband. So Prahlad Maharaj, when the mother was pregnant with Prahlad Maharaj, the Devas were going to kill her. And Narada Muni came and stopped them and said, you don't understand. First of all, he said, why do you want to kill her? And he said, well, she's pregnant, she probably has a son, and we don't want that son to be born because look how his father is. Hiranyakashipu is harassing everyone. The son might be even a greater demon than him. So Narada Muni said, no, you don't understand. The son is a pure devotee. So they were shocked. But he took the wife, who was pregnant, took her to his ashram, and every day he would chant Hare Krishna and preach to her. Now, by the 7th month of the pregnancy, Prahlad Maharaj was able to hear what the mantra Hare Krishna and the teaching that he was giving to the Hiranyakashipu's wife. And so, you know, a woman is usually pregnant 10 months. So let's say 3 months, he was regularly hearing Krishna conscious philosophy and hearing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that when he was born, he was already educated in Krishna consciousness. That's called prenatal consciousness. So you should understand this, ladies. If you get pregnant, you should always have either always chant Hare Krishna or have Hare Krishna being heard with a record or a radio or whatever, a computer, It should always be surrounded by transcendental sounds, because sound can penetrate almost anything. So Prahlad Maharaj was born a natural devotee because he was educated while he was still in the womb of his mother. So by the time he got to be about 4 or 5 years old, his father wanted to send him to be trained like himself to be a demon. He hired 2 teachers who were expert at training children to be demons, just like today. Almost all the teachers are demons, and they're teaching children to become demons also. Now you might say, wait a minute, now you're really exaggerating things. No, I'm not exaggerating. Do they talk about God in your school? No, they don't talk about God. And if you start talking about God, they stop you. Is that right? And so therefore, they're demons. They're not even allowed to talk about God in school. Or if they talk about God, they'll talk about, the religion of the native Indians. Hoo, 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 ha, 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 ha. As if that's the only level of God they talk about. So anyway, Prahlad Maharaj was naturally a devotee. By the time he became 5 years old, his father said, well, now, Prahlad, it's time for you to get a good education. And he gave him to 2 teachers to teach him how to become a demon. That means you learn how to say something, but do something different. Or, like, for example, there's a saying, the tongue doesn't have a bone. Therefore, you can twist it any way you want. You see? So in the same way, the demons know how to say something and then do the opposite. The politicians are like that. They promise you everything. If you vote for me, you'll get this, you'll get that. It'll all be free, and we'll have you'll have a party every day. But there was one man who was he saw this advertisement on a big billboard, "Go to hell and be happy," and it was a picture of Hawaii. And he looked at it and said, "Huh, it looks like Hawaii, so it can't be that bad." And it was a free ticket. You go to hell and be happy. So he went on the internet to find out, how he could get that ticket. And he got the ticket. And so he had to take an elevator down to hell. And as soon as he opened the door, there were 2 demons there. They grabbed him and started beating him. And he said, "Hey, what's going on here? I thought it was a nice place." He said, "That was the advertisement. This is the reality." You see. So this is going on all the time. Like, for example, Elon Musk. He says, "Well, by 2045, we'll have condos on the Mars, and people will be living there because the ecosystem of the Earth is getting worse and worse." Well, okay, Elon, you go first and tell us how it is up there. He's not going to go, and he's not. There's no way he's going to build condos on Mars. Did you ever hear about that? Yeah, these people are crazy, completely crazy. But yet, people believe it. They're being lied to, but because he's a rich man, he's probably one of the richest men in the world, and he has, spaceships and this thing and that thing, so they believe him. But, by the way, he asked he asked people to volunteer to go on the first spaceship to Mars. You know how many people contacted him? 1,600 people contacted him and volunteered to take the first spaceship to Mars. That's like 1,600 morons. What? 160,000. Okay, 160,000. Those are morons. Those are idiots. And by the way, he also said it's a one-way trip. It means you're not coming back, and you're all going to die anyway. So here we have so many false narratives in the world going on now that people believe. If Elon Musk can get away with saying that he's going to build condos on Mars and there'll be regular, rockets going there and coming back, and people believe it, that means that people have become so dumb that they would believe something that is impossible. Now you might say, wait a minute, how do you know that? I know that because every planet is inhabited by living entities. The sun, Mercury, Mars, and so forth. There are living entities on every planet. Now, on this planet, our bodies are made mostly of water and earth, and then a little bit of all the other elements. The moon, the living entities on the moon, the main element is the subtle mind, because there are 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements. The subtle elements are the mind, intelligence, and ego. And the gross elements are earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So the main elements of the bodies on the moon are made out of the subtle, let's say, the subtle elements. Okay. So when you go to the moon, if you can go to the moon, you will not be able to see anyone because they have subtle bodies. The main element is the mind, intelligence, and the ego, and there's some water, there's some this and that, but the main element is the mind. So you won't be able to see the people, although they're there. And every planet, there are living entities, but the composition of their body is made differently than our body. Therefore, you won't be able to see them, but they are there. And anyway, no one's going to go to any of these planets. Krishna doesn't allow it. Therefore, instead of spending billions of dollars trying to do the exploration of the universe, by the way, do you know how far away the so-called, what do you call that? The planetary, no, not the planetary thing, the space, International Space thing. You know how high it was in the sky? Less than that. It was less than that. That's how much they, experimented and found out about space. You know how much space there is in the universe? They didn't go more than 60 miles. And they call that exploration of space. They haven't done anything, So here we see there's a lot of bluffing going on, and and they're spending billions of dollars, and basically cheating people, and not showing anything for it. So now they're going to destroy that space module because it's not actually doing much for them, right? And they're going to destroy it, and maybe they'll make another one, in so many years. The same thing with going to the moon. They claimed they went to the moon 55 years ago, but they haven't tried to go again. And now they're saying, well, we'll go back to the moon. They never went to the moon in the first place. If they went to the moon 55 years ago, why can't they go to it, now? Or why didn't they go to the moon during the 55 years where they didn't go, you see? So there are a lot of things that are cheating and lying by the government. Now, I'm not a person who's always going to be, talking about government cheating, but I can say certain things that I know for sure. And one is that they never went to the moon, and two is that they're not going to go to the moon anytime. not in the past, not in the present, and not in the future. So we'll see. Just like when the first moon, let's say, landing was shown on television in 1968. I also saw it, and Prabhupada also saw it. And when he saw it, he said they did not go. And some of the devotees were shocked. They said, wait a minute, we just saw it on the television. He said, you might have seen it on television, but they did not go. And then he gave a whole litany of reasons why he knew that they did not go by quoting Shastra. Because number one, the moon is a heavenly planet. The moon is farther away than the sun, according to Shastra, and so forth. So he gave a whole bunch of reasons. And some of the devotees left the movement because they thought Prabhupada was wrong. But here, today, we know he was right. 55 years ago, they claimed to have gone to the moon, and in 55 years, they haven't tried to do it again. And now they're saying they're going to try again. See? That means they didn't go in the first place. So, who you're going to believe, that's the most important thing. And why would Prabhupada say they didn't go? Because he was simply repeating what is shastrically explained about the moon. The moon is a heavenly planet. It's farther away than the sun. It's actually bigger than the sun. So they claim to get there very quickly, and they claim that it's basically all dust. They don't see any water or anything like that. All that is a lie. The moon is actually a heavenly planet. The devatas go to the moon to drink somarasa. Just like, here you have so many people going into bars and drinking whiskey. But the devas, they drink somarasa. When you drink somarasa, it increases your lifespan for at least 10,000 years. Sometimes people ask me, say, you know how to make that somarasa? I said, no, I don't know. And that's true, I don't know. But there is such a thing as the somarasa. So there are a lot of things that are mysterious in the world. Like, for example, ladies, do you know how you make that baby in your womb? It's a mystery. Nobody knows. Even the doctors don't know how it happens. See? And men, do you know how you make blood in your body? By the way, if you know how to make blood, you would become the richest person in the world right away. No one has ever made artificial blood. They make parts of it, but never the full thing. See? So there are a lot of mysterious things going on in the world. So when they want to make blood, they have to take blood from a human being and then mix it with some other chemicals and say, well, we made it, facsimile of blood. But they've never been able to reproduce blood. So there are many things that are mysterious. And if we want to understand something that's mysterious, we have to go to Shastra. We have to go and read the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, and there you'll get all the answers to the things that are mysterious and seem to be impossible to know. So therefore, these are the two greatest literatures in the world. And by the way, Bhagavad Gita is the oldest literature. It was first spoken 140 million years ago by Krishna to the sun god, Vivaswan, or Surya. The last time it was spoken by Krishna was 5,000 years ago to Arjuna. So this is the oldest book in the history of the world. The Bible is only 2,000 years old. The Quran is 1,500 years old. The Buddhist writings are hardly 2,500 years old. This book, Bhagavad Gita, and my book looks like it. It looks like it's 5,000 years old. It's because I've been using it a lot. This book is 5,000 years old. This is the oldest book in the history of the world. And it's still being read. And it's still relevant. Everything, all the statements in this book are still relevant to what's happening today. So therefore, here we should understand, if you read the Bhagavad Gita, but even better than reading is hearing it spoken by a genuine devotee, you will be the most educated person in this world. And then you can help others also. So I'll stop right there. Does anybody want to ask a question? And understand that we have a rule: no question, no eat. So if you want to eat, ask one question at least. Okay. And by the way, don't raise your hands all at once. Just go one by one. Yes, Prabhu. Yes. All right, microphone over here. Do we have the microphone? Hare Krishna. Okay, stand up and say your question. Let's talk loudly. Oh, here it comes. See, it's very important to ask questions. The whole Bhagavad Gita is questions and answers. The whole Srimad Bhagavatam is questions and answers. If you want to learn something, you have to ask a question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
When the moon is farther away from the sun, then how did they fake like solar eclipses?
That's a good question. It's not what they say it is. Well, anyway, you're asking me how does the solar eclipse happen if the moon is farther away than the sun? It has nothing to do with the sun or the distance away from the sun. If you want to know the answer to that, I will give you the answer. I can't say it right now, but I will give you the answer. All right? But it has nothing to do with the sun. The sun is not involved. It's something else that's happening. Okay. And there are other. There's another point. There are other celestial things that you cannot see, but they're there. Right. So moon you can see, but there are other forms in the universe that are invisible, but yet you can. They're there, and they can do things that are mysterious. Yes, Prabhu.
Is Chandralok the same as the moon that we see?
No.
Okay, so we were talking about Chandralok then.
Yes.
Okay, I understood.
See, there are many mysterious things. Look, if there's something you can't see, like for example, the scientists say, well, we can't see the soul, so for us it doesn't exist. Well, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. That just means that you have limited vision, right? Every human being has four, let's say, imperfections. We make mistakes, we're easily illusioned, our senses are imperfect, and we have a cheating propensity. So no human being is going to be able to make things, to explain things perfectly because of these four problems. So in the same way, there are invisible things in the universe. And it's very easy for us on the earth to make mistakes. Just like one time, like the last 55 years, no one has tried to go back to the moon, right? With, let's say, with human beings in a spaceship. So George Bush said, well, we gotta start sending some more astronauts to the moon to figure out what's happening there. Well, he's right. We'll never really know what's going on in the moon unless you send astronauts there, human beings. But 55 years after they said they went to the moon, they still haven't sent an astronaut to the moon. And they didn't send an astronaut 55 years ago also. But see, you might not have been here when I showed on the screens up here the discussion that that happened with Buzz Aldrin and Conan Bryan. Conan Bryan is a television, let's say, talk show man, and he had Buzz Aldrin. Buzz Aldrin, there was Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. Those were the two astronauts that went to the moon. Buzz Aldrin was being talking to Conan Bryan. Conan Bryan has an evening show. He still does, I think. And Conan Bryan said, "So you went to the moon?" And Buzz said, "No." He said, "What? You didn't go to the moon?" He said, "No." I thought you went to the moon." He said, "No, the whole thing was staged. In other words, it was like a Hollywood production." Now, this is the man that actually is the second person with, Armstrong that supposedly went to the moon. And he's telling the truth now that they never went to the moon. The whole thing was a hoax. And Buzz Aldrin is still alive. Armstrong died, but Buzz Aldrin is still alive. So if you want, you go and you can look it up now on the internet. Conan Bryan show and Buzz Aldrin. And you'll hear him say, Conan Bryan was shocked, when he said, "No, we didn't go to the moon. It was in other words, he said it was orchestrated, Okay, so any other questions? Any other questions? Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
My question is on the 9.11 verse today. Krishna is Maheshwara, and who others we consider as Ishvara? Typically, the demigods are not considered as Ishvaras.
No, but there are many Ishwaras. Like for example, your wife is an Ishwara. She'll tell you to take out the trash. You got to take the trash out. There are many Ishwaras. There are many different grades of Ishwaras. Ishwara is someone who can order you, do this, do that. Right?
Okay, so
But the supreme Ishwara is Krishna.
are demigods considered as Ishvaras, Maharaj?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're controllers. They have control, but they're not the supreme controller. Krishna is the supreme Ishwara or controller.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj.
Haribol. Yes. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
So we had a question. How do we know they staged the going to the moon, even though like in school we learned they had like so much proof they went to the moon?
Yes. Good question. Did you look up this discussion between? Yeah. What does it say?
It says that they tried to intertwine animations.
What?
They tried to have animated clips that were not real of them on the moon.
You're mumbling your words.
Oh, they tried to have animated clips intertwined with the footage. Animated clips. Staged.
Staged.
Yeah.
Okay. There you are. He looked. I asked him to look it up on the internet. The discussion between Buzz Aldrin and Conan Bryan, and Buzz says, we never went. Conan Bryan almost fainted when he said that. And now you looked it up, and they made these clips that look like you go to the moon, but it was staged. It was like a Hollywood production. Hollywood, Bollywood, whatever. Any other questions? Everyone gets shocked when I say they never went to the moon, right? Yes, Prabhu? Oh, you have to take the phone to him. He's far away.
Thank you. Maharaji, very nice lecture, very informative. In 1975, Prabhupada Ji Maharaj was giving a lecture in Sanand, Gujarat. And in that lecture, he used chapter 7, text 1. Shri Bhagavan Vacha, Mai Asakta Manaha Partha, Yogam Yunjam Madasarya. Asam Sayam Samagram Mam Yatha Gyanasi Tak Shrinu. And he emphasized on the word Shrinu. कि अर्जुन क्यों आप बक बक कर रहे हैं? Now listen to.
Shrinu means here.
Here. Now you listen to me, the authority that is Krishna, or the Guru in the parampara.
Yes.
So if I also read in Prabhupada's conversations that whatever you said, I've read, and it's, he refuted the claims that they went to the moon. So 2-3 years ago, when India sent something to the moon and it was all then, doesn't, would you like to throw some light on that?
Okay, you want me to throw it, like a football? Look, India, and then also Japanese, and also, different people, they say they send rockets to the moon, and they go in behind the moon on the dark side. But what do they have to show for it? When Christopher Columbus, so-called, discovered the Western Hemisphere, of course, it was always there, but he took a boat from Italy, I think, and he was trying to go to India. But today they call it the West Indies, the Caribbean and Florida and everything. So after he went back to Europe and said that, look, there's a whole continent. And I went there, and it's vast. He said, I didn't explore everything, but I can tell you there was a gigantic continent. So what happened? Every rich man in Europe started using their money to build boats to go to the new continent and exploit it. And they did exploit it. They completely wiped out the Mayan culture and stole all their gold. They wiped out the Incas and stole all their gold. And then they started exploiting all the minerals and the furs and things like that, in North America and Canada. So they had something to show for it. The fact that they discovered a new continent, they had something to show for it. What did they have to show for the moon? 6 stones that are in the Smithsonian Institute. And they look very much like stones that are on New Mexico. You see, the whole thing's a hoax. Why don't you look at there's 6 stones in the Smithsonian Institute that were brought back by the so-called astronauts. You see, everyone's being tricked by the government. They're lying like anything. So, does that answer your question?
Partly.
What part did I not answer?
So, the Indian government was lying to the rest of the world that they went or sent something to the moon?
Look, do you have any way of validating that they went to the moon?
Scriptures say no.
No, but do you have any way of validating that the Indian government sent a rocket to the moon? No, you don't. You see, and they know that. They don't. They know that you don't have the means to actually check to see that they did that. So you don't know. You just have to accept to believe them. And then you'll find out that they don't have anything to show for it that they went to the moon. Right? Everybody wants to exploit, the minerals on the moon or on the asteroids, but they don't show them. And by the way, what's very interesting, most things now, like science means you observe, you experiment, and if the experiment, is valid, then you have, knowledge. Right? Many things today are not experimented, and the scientists say, you just have to believe. Okay, now I'll give you one example. For example, they say that they went to the moon. What did they have to show to prove that they went to the moon? Did you see the 6 stones in the Smithsonian Institute? Is it there? Say it out loud. It's very small. They look like that. The only proof they have they went to the moon is there are 6 stones in the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C., that they claim came from the moon, and they brought it back from the moon. Now, are you satisfied with that proof? No, it's a hoax. It's nonsense. You see? Jai Shri Radha Nilamadava ki jai. Okay, so we're dealing with a lot of nonsense here. Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, then we can have kirtan because we didn't.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, there is a program actually.
Okay, you have
Yes,
a program. Go
sorry.
ahead.
So they've been waiting. So we have 3 newly-wed couples here from our congregation. And His Grace Arjuna Saka Prabhu and Subhiksha Mataji. Haribo. Achyuta Abhayapada Prabhu and Kalyani Mataji. Mohit Prabhu and Meera Mataji. So we have actually we want to take Maharaj, they're waiting for your blessings. They are very wonderful devotees who are helping in the congregation and in various ways. And they're very dear to us. And now they're entering into the new phase of life. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So let me ask you a question, all of you. Are you going to be a promise keeper? What is this? Okay, you can pass it around there.
What's the question?
No, are you going to be a promise keeper? In other words, you promised in the ceremony that there'll never be any separation. Is that true or not? False? True. Now my question is, are you going to be a promise keeper? You're never going to be separated. By the way, it's valid in complete sense that you'll never leave your wife alone, or you'll never leave your husband alone. You'll always be together. It's very good. Sometimes, the husband has to go on a trip for 6 weeks, and you're alone. It's not good to do that. You should always be together. And when husband and wife cooperate, then you can do miraculous things. If you argue, it's a disaster. So the women have to be like the wife of Dronacharya, who was blind. Huh? Katara. Yeah, Gandhari is the wife. So why did Gandhari cover her eyes when she got married? She didn't want to think that she was superior to her husband. So that's the correct psychology of man-woman relationship in marriage. Even if the woman is more educated or more adept at getting things done or more of an expert in this or that, they should always be subordinate to their husband. Now, if I say this like on the television, like half the women in the United States start screaming, what are you saying? But this is Shastric, right? Gandhari, because she could see and her husband was blind, in order that she would never feel superior to her husband, she covered her eyes with, a cloth so that they could have the proper relationship, that the wife is always subordinate to the husband. Now, that doesn't mean that you're a lesser person. It just means that there's a certain psychology that the man always wants to be superior. And even if the wife is more adept at doing things than the husband, still, the wife should always be inferior, not inferior, but submissive to the husband. That's if you want to have a long marriage. And if you don't do it, it's going to be a short marriage. You know? So I have a cousin, this very beautiful lady, and she was very well educated, a very intelligent lady. She never got married. So I asked her once, I said, you know, you're a very pretty lady. I said, how come you never got married? She said, I couldn't find a person that was at my level. So, so I was thinking about that. When she told me that, I was a little surprised. I was thinking about that. In other words, what she was saying was she never met a man who was better than her, and therefore she never got married. Right? And that's a shame, because she was a very beautiful lady, very well educated, but she had her nose in the air. You know, she had false ego, and thinking that, you know, there's no man that's better than me. Therefore, she didn't get married. So it's very important. You can go and read about Kardama Muni and Devahuti, and there's right now I'm going to say something that you probably have never heard before. 3/4 of the Bhagavatam is about man-woman relationship. 3/4 of the Bhagavatam is an enormous book, right? Why is 3/4 of it all about the relationship between a man and a woman? Because that's the most important thing for the safety belt of society. Because if you get married and you keep your vows, and at the same time, you know, you have to keep your spiritual vows and the vows of marriage and so forth, then society, you'll have good children, and society will be very peaceful, and the children will be good. You'll teach them Krishna consciousness. So the vow of marriage is as important as the vow of initiation. The vow of marriage is as important as the vow of initiation. And both vows say there'll never be any separation, right? Or you'll never leave Krishna consciousness. So if you just follow that, like one time Gandhi got really angry with his wife, and he told her, get out, this is my house, get out. He pushed her to the door, pushed her outside, and slammed the door shut. Then he went back, and about an hour later, you know, his anger subsided, and then he thought, oh, why did I do that? You know, poor lady, I shouldn't have been so rough. So he ran to the door to find her, and when he opened the door, she was still there, sitting on the ground in front of the door. And he said, so, you didn't go to see your mother and father? And she said, no. He said, why? She said, when we were married, the Kanyadan my parents gave me to you. If you don't want me, I'll just sit here and fast to death, because they gave me to you. That's what Kanyadan is. The parents are giving the daughter to the groom. That's what Kanyadan means. So she said, they gave me to you, so if you don't want me, then I'm just going to sit here and I'll fast to death. So this is the safety net of Vedic culture. This vow of marriage is sacred. It's the same thing as the vow of initiation. So you take that seriously, you never have a problem. And when a husband and wife cooperate, they can do miracle things together. But if you start arguing, everything will be, horrible. There's nothing worse than a marriage in which the husband and wife are arguing. So that's the only thing I want to say. Also, I want to say something else. Never say anything mean or demeaning to your wife. You know why? You know why? Because women are like elephants, they never forget. And I saw this in reality. I stayed with my uncle once in New York, and he would wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, They come down to the kitchen and start chopping his salad, you know, and he would cut everything really very, very small like this. I asked him once, I said, Amu or uncle, I said, well, why you cut everything so small? I said, so my stomach doesn't have to work hard to digest. That's the kind of person he was. He was very meticulous about everything. So 7 o'clock, his wife would come down, and as soon as she entered the kitchen, the argument started. And the argument didn't stop till 10 o'clock at night. And you know, when I saw this, I was staying with them for about a week. When I saw this, I was thinking to myself, maybe I should never get married. If this is what marriage is, you know, they're just arguing and arguing, you know, it's horrible. But it's because they were not Krishna conscious. So Krishna consciousness means there's no arguing between the wife and the husband. Now, I have to tell you something. Your husband's going to make mistakes. There's no doubt about it. He's going to make mistakes. So women have to be able to forgive. And the husband has to never say anything mean or demeaning, and especially no violence, no hitting or anything like that to the wife. If you can't do that, then you should not get married. So never, you know, punish your wife or hit her or say nasty things. And you should understand your husband's going to make some mistakes. So you have to always forgive. You can't be so, I'm never going to forget. No. You should always be willing to forgive and forget. You know, just like sometimes there's a saying, you know, I'm going to bury the hatchet, but I know where I buried it. So you don't want to be like that. You want to throw the hatchet away, and just depend on Krishna. So when husband and wife together chant Hare Krishna and follow all the regulative principles, you will be able to do miraculous things, both of you. So just keep that in mind. That by following all the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. Now, okay, now the main point is this. How are you going to have a baby? Well, normally there would be the Garbhodhan Samskar, but it's not done normally. So Prabhupada was asked about that. He said, well, then just chant 50 rounds together before you try to have a baby. Remember this. If you don't, then you will not get a child that is, let's say, very docile, friendly, smiling, always happy, and respectful. If you want a child that's always a headache, then don't do it. But if you want the child to not be a headache, then chant 50 rounds together and then try and consummate your desire to have a child. Okay, that's all I'm going to say now. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. Okay, well, you have to have two. Okay, there's two. So this is for you, but don't put it on. And this is for you, don't put it on. Now you stand up and go in front of Prabhupada. For you, don't put it on. This is for you, don't put it on. And wait a minute, don't do anything. This is for you, don't put it on. And this is for you, don't put it on. You go over there. Yeah. All right, now everyone's confused. So. Okay, so who's going to take the photos? Yeah, let me get out of the way. So now, first, you put that garland on your husband. But you have to tilt yourselves like this so they can take a picture of you. All right? You go first. Now, when you put it on his, over his head, on his neck, don't take your hands off. And then both of you look with a smile. Haribo, Haribo. Keep your hands there. Now, somewhere or other, you got to put that on her. Okay, so put that on her. Go ahead, and you keep your hands. That's good. Okay, so you put your hands on there, and now you both look and smile. Haribo, 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 Haribo. Very good. Okay, you're up next. All right, so put the garland on her. Yeah, first Mataji. Yeah. Haribo, Haribo. Yeah, hold. Now wait a minute. Now you put on her, and you hold, and she holds. And now you look together. Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Very good. Okay, you're up. You can stand. Okay, go ahead. You can go over there. Okay, go. Go ahead. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Haribo, Haribo. All right, now hold. You put your hands on his garland, and he has to. Okay, now smile. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare. Now everybody sort of get close to each other, and we're going to take a nice picture that you will remember for the rest of your life. Haribo. Very important moment. Hare Krishna. No, you don't.
Take the mic. Hare Krishna. So, Hare Krishna. Now in the Santa Sita hall, they arranged like the cake cutting. So please go down, and also, I'm sure most of you had prasadam already. If those are still sitting and not eaten, please go ahead and have prasadam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Haribol, Haribol, Gaura Haribol, Nitai Gaura Haribol. Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Haribol. Nita Goda Haribol, Haribol, Goda Haribol, Goda Haribol. Nita Goda Premanandi Ki Jai Haribol. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Pararajagachasta Tarasata Shishi Shimani's Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anantakoti Vaishnavindi ki jai, Namacharya Silharidas Thakur ki jai, Prem Sukho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavindi ki jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Shri Mayapura Dham ki jai, Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Ganga Maya ki jai, Jamuna Maya ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktavindi ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Patita Pavana ki jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutali Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tanamani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskatya Desatarine. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Thank you very, very much. Please be blessed by the mercy of Radha and Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna, dance in ecstasy, and take prasadam to your full satisfaction. Hare Bol.